Chrono Odyssey beta is officially over, and I'm gonna be honest guys, my comment section or absolutely everywhere is an absolute fire. 50% of people are saying this game is dead on arrival, while 50% are saying I can't wait to play this. Now I'm gonna be honest guys, I usually am one of those that actually end up playing these MMOs for a long period of time. Many like creators or everything has their opinion and plays the game for a couple of weeks and then goes back to your old game. I don't have any old games. I'm just looking for new MMOs to enjoy. I have thousands of hours in Throne of Liberty, in Lost Ark, in New World, in Tartarus Land, and I go all in when I actually play an MMORPG. And when it comes to my content is I make positive videos if the game does good things, has good new features, has exciting stuff coming into the game. I make positive videos. And then I also, as you guys know my stance, I also make negative videos when it comes to monetary exploitations with a lot of these MMOs, and I'm very vocal about it. And when there's exploits or bugs or issues with the game, I make videos on it. So I make both positive videos because I do at the end of the day want every MMO to do really good, but I also talk about all the negative stuff that games eventually make mistakes and make predatory decisions that affect us player bases, and that usually leads to me not having as many perks as other creators when it comes to the people working on these games, which is completely fine for me. So I'm going to be giving you guys an unbiased opinion. I'm not sponsored, I don't have any good friendship or anything with Chrono Odyssey at all, but as you guys know, I am always excited for new MMOs and I want them to do good, and I've been excited for this game since the release and since I saw the trailer. But I've also made a video where I talk about the biggest concerns regarding Chrono Odyssey. So in this video, I'm going to be covering the strongest points that I think Chrono Odyssey have, because I played the beta out, I leveled up, I geared up, I did all the content possible to do in the beta, and I'm going to talk about all the positive things and I enjoyed about the game, and why I'm excited for Chrono Odyssey. But then I'm also going to talk about all the bad stuff and stuff that definitely needs to be worked on. If not, the game might not do good at all. So let's just jump into the video. So we first have to talk about all the pros with the game. Now I played this. If you guys want to watch my full VODs, they are on my YouTube channel under the live section. I streamed this game for 2 days and I played it off stream a bunch, and I'm gonna be honest, the days that I played this game, I had fun. Okay, I actually had fun. The last time I had this much fun was probably like New World beta, but if I just judge it by beta, this has been one of my more fun beta experiences. Game had a bunch of issues, of course, but at the end of the day, it was fun playing, it was fun progressing, it was fun exploring. You know, the world was massive, and I do think that that's one of the strong points with the game is they can make you really immersed at certain times. You know, with all of this lore and these boss fights, it makes it really good. And what I also really liked about the game, which I think is one of the strongest points, and I've seen a lot of people complain about this, which I don't understand, is that they don't hold your hand in telling you what you need to do. There is no, hey, follow this quest, do this thing, and then level up and progress like most MMOs do. And people are like, I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, bro, it's a game, figure it out. In this game, what I really liked is you could do whatever you wanted to do. You could do the main quest a little bit, you could do some side quests, you could go life skilling, you could go mob hunting, you could do dungeon exploring, you would still level up, you would still gain exp. I think the first couple 3 hours I didn't know what I was doing. I was just exploring the world, dying to mobs. The mobs don't have a level, so you don't know how strong they are. You have to kind of figure stuff out yourself. When you have a boss fight, one of the first boss fights that you get into, you can try to defeat it as a level 3, or you can leave it, get stronger, get gear, and then go back and defeat it. And just having this whatever you want to do progress mentality with the game, I think is one of the strongest points when it comes to Chrono Odyssey. Now I don't know how long this will hold up, but as a beginner or progressing, you know, learning about the game, I think it's really nice to have this option of doing whatever you want. You know, the game doesn't tell you, hey, go do that. Of course there's quests to pick up, of course there's like a main quest to kind of follow, but at the end of the day, there's so much stuff to do and many ways to just, you know, get stronger inside the game and progress. I think one is the coolest thing. And now we're going to talk about the combat. Now the combat itself, I think it's a really strong point. I know people complain about the animations, which is an issue which we're going to come back to, but the combat overall, like having 2 weapons, having several different skills, and not only that, when you build your character and you start leveling up, you actually start getting even more skills, because every single class has sub skills, which is like ultimate skills, which you can actually add on. So you don't only have those 4 skills plus the normal attacks, which is total 10 skills. You also get 4 extra additional skills later on, which makes the combat, in my opinion, really cool and really different from other MMOs that I'm used to, because you can use different things when fighting. We're playing a Berserker class, and at level 15, I unlocked the punching ability, which will give me basically, instead of my weapons, I can use fists to gain HP back, or I could play with a different thing that will CC a player. So you can play around and change different builds, which I really like. And then the Chrono Tector. The Chrono Tector is a really cool addition to the game. If you guys watch my PvP video, I would highly advise you guys to at least watch like 2-3 minutes of a PvP video that I posted on Chrono Odyssey, because in there I actually use a Chrono Tector very actively, because the Chrono Tector basically lets you turn back time. It makes you stop time, it makes you lose gravity, it lets you summon different monsters that have different abilities. Some can like CC break bars, some can stun, some can throw meteors down. But basically this Chrono Tector actually makes the gameplay really interesting, because the combat suddenly becomes way more creative. You can, as a ranger, you can use the time reversal one to go behind your enemy target and then activate it, and then go back to where you were standing, like a mirror, kind of like from different games. They have like a mirror ability, but it lets you make the combat way more fun, especially for PvP. I think the Chrono Tector actually makes the gameplay really well done. So Chrono Tector is really well made. I really liked it. It does seem a little OP at times, because you can like stop time, but then you can also, as a player, counter CC with a stopping time, which actually breaks the time stop. So overall, I did really enjoy the Chrono Tector and the combat, and if they fix most of the clunkiness, I do think this could be a really good thing for the game. And you can like equip different type of skills, so you don't have to always use the same 4 skills. I think there's like a total of 6 or 8 skills. You can use 4 skills each weapon, but you can swap out, and there's many options to swap out some of the skills, which is also really cool. Now, when it comes to the boss fights are really fun. I do like them. I like that there's not obvious red things that you need to dodge every time you get into a fight. You know how MMOs are like, hey, dodge this red ability. Or now you're getting a message that the boss is going to do something. No, you actually have to kind of figure out the action combat yourself. Iframe some of the abilities, and the combat fights and the sequences in the dungeons, in the instances, are really fun and challenging, depending on if you enter it with lower level or lower gear. But I do think the boss fights were really cool, and the dungeons was really cool. I did try out all of the dungeons and the content the game had to offer. In the beta, of course, it was the 5 solo bosses, but there's also 2 team dungeons, which you could do. And I do think the team dungeons were really fun, especially the one with like where you could fast level. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there was a dungeon where you could basically farm mobs over and over and get to like level 20 or 21. But that dungeon was also really difficult, and I did really like the fights. And I do think the fights is a really cool thing, especially with this game. Like those Dark Souls type of combat makes the fights really immersive. So I did like the boss fights. I did like the challenging content, and hopefully they're gonna have even more difficult content going into the game. And that brings me to my next thing, which is many different content types. In this game, you have so much different, especially early game, you had many different things to explore, right? You have those 5 boss fights, and then you had the labyrinths, which I really liked the labyrinths. They were really hard at times. I was really raging a bunch, if you guys are watching my stream. But the thing with the labyrinths is that one thing I didn't like is that the last boss, really cool last boss, but it was the same boss in every single labyrinth. So hopefully they do something different with that. But they have many different type of content types, right? You have the labyrinths, you have the dungeons, you have the solo boss fights, you had the trial thing, you had the exploration, you had the like elite bosses, region bosses, field bosses. So especially early game, it felt like there was a bunch of content or different type of variety of content that you could do. And remember, we have like a world that is going to be way smaller. I think the global world is going to be like 4 times bigger when it globally launches. So overall, I do think the variety of content was really good early on, and it would be interesting to see if it actually continues till the end game. Now, when it comes to the crafting, I did really enjoy the crafting in this game because I actually felt like I had to do crafting. Give me a lot of like New World vibes. Yes, bunch of New World vibes when it comes to crafting or the game generally. It was like really New Worldy, and I did enjoy life skilling. And sometimes you don't have to always create something new. You can always copy things that kind of work. So the crafting was really fun. I was running a bunch around trying to get different materials, get my pickaxes up so I could craft better and better gear. So it felt meaningful to also craft, not only do boss fights all the time. And then the game also has trading house, very similar to New World. You have to go to a city, and then you can access trading house, and you can sell your items that you craft or buy items that you need. So overall, those are my strongest points, I think, with the game itself. There's of course a lot of like the exploration content and the massive world I did really like, but now we got to talk about things that weren't as good. And I think the main thing that people complain about, and we got to get out of the way, is the movement, the clunkiness, and the lightning and the darkness. I actually talked about this before the beta even came out. I made a video on this, and I still stick to these points. Is things are clunky, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, is this stuff will be fixed before launch, because if it doesn't, the game is dead on arrival. And they already said they're gonna work on the movement, they're gonna work on the clunkiness, and it's kind of obvious, like it being a beta, and they're saying that this is like an old version of the game. I do think the movement will be fixed, but if it does not get fixed, it's not going to be good for the game at all. So hopefully we'll get some changes to the movement, the clunkiness of it, and a little bit more polished with the combat. And then you have lightning in the darkness, like it's horrible, but hopefully that needs to be fixed, because when the sun came, it was really blinding. So they need to definitely work on contrasts, lightning, and the dark areas. And they already talked about this, so these are like base stuff that has to be fixed, like definitely. And then optimization, the FPS optimization was absolutely horrible, which is kind of expected. Also a thing I covered before the beta even came out. I did talk about the FPS optimization, how the optimization is going to be when it's like large scale stuff and many people are at one place. And we saw when we went to the city, it was like 20 FPS. So the optimization is definitely one of the core things that have to work on. You have to be able, it's an MMO or world MMORPG, you have to be able to be at a place or at a spot with many players without it killing your PC or killing your game. So this is one of the main things I do think they need to optimize, and I do think if you give them enough time, things will get optimized. But these are like one of the core things that has to be in place, like the movement, the lightning, and the FPS optimization. Hopefully a little more vibrant colors, but these are like base things that needs to be on point. If this is not on point, the game will not manage at all. It has to, those are like the base things that needs to be worked on. Now let's talk a little bit more deeper. If these base things are worked on and fixed really good, but there's still some major issues in my opinion, which is the end game content. I'm kind of scared of, because the progression content is really fun, but what happens when you get to the end game? What is the goal of the end game? What kind of content are we going to get at the end game? Because we can't be doing the same labyrinths over again, can't be doing the same trials over again, can't be doing the same bosses all over again. Then you're just going to get the typical daily grind, right? What is it to offer at the end game? And I do think, even though the early game, the progression game, the first month of the game is going to be a blast, I'm really scared of what they're going to offer end game. Like the Eden thing sounds good, like an island with PvP happening. You can keep people busy, and there's going to be like 10-player raids, but at the end of the day, we're going to get to a point where most of the content is going to be repetitive. So how are they going to get people engaging? What kind of aspect of the game are people going to enjoy once they reach end game and max gear, right? What is it to do? So it's going to be one of the most important thing, is the end game loop of things. So I do think while we're gonna have really fun early on the first month, I don't know if they have anything to offer end game, which is also one of the big issues New World had. So I do think this can be a better New World, and in my opinion, New World was one of the most fun experiences I had playing an MMO. But the New World was lacking the development and the work around the end game, like people just running around doing chests all day, which was extremely boring. So hopefully they have a good end game loop. I think it's going to be one of the major things if this is going to be a make or break game. Other thing is not enough co-op stuff, especially early game. While it is mainly solo player game, at the end of the day it's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, which means you want to be playing with friends, you want to be playing with other players. While the game did have 2 dungeons early game, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough team content. That needs to be like when you do bosses, or you can ping players at a place, or the guild system needs to a little bit work, but there needs to be more co-op stuff, more stuff that you can do together with players in the open world, maybe some exploration with them. I don't think it's enough for just having 2 dungeons, which I think you can even like solo. You don't even need the 2 or 3 players with you to actually do it, which is kind of nice, but at the same time you want to be playing with others or playing with friends. So while having solo things is really good, they need a little bit more multiplayer, a little bit more co-op stuff to make the game more exciting, even early game, right? Because you want to introduce players to a game that shows you that it is a massive multiplayer game. And then I talked about the same bosses for the labyrinths. Please fix that. The boss, I mean, if you're gonna add the same boss on every single labyrinth, at least make him do different mechanics. Okay, so hopefully they change the boss. And then it's the lock-on system. The lock-on system is so bad. Every time you lock on, you go like, yeah, like a frog perspective. You can't even see players maneuvering around. The lock-on system is horrible. The movement during the lock-on system, you don't have a lot of freedom when you actually lock onto players. So hopefully the lock-on system also gets a little bit more rework, because you kind of need it when if you're PvPing and stuff. But aside from that, I think those are like the major concerns that I have for the game. Now, overall, my opinion is this game has a chance to be good. I don't think it's a game that will last a year, unfortunately. I mean, MMOs recently, if you look at every single MMO, no MMOs, new MMOs actually beats a year. They always end before a year is over, so which is kind of bad. But I do think the early game and the first months of the game can be really fun, and I do think this game has potential to do good if it fixes a lot of the mistakes, and it fixes the mistakes that New World messed up on. If with enough developers, with enough feedback and work, I do think this game can be a fun project, at least for me, to play for 3 to 6 months, and then it depends on how the developers would do it going forward. But it needs a lot of work right now. It needs a lot of optimization. But the core of the game, with the massive immersive world, and that you can do whatever you want, having the combat, the chrono texture, and the boss fights being sick, and the storyline, they need to work on a little bit on the storyline and like voice acting and stuff. But overall, I like the concept of the game, and I think this game definitely has the ability to be one of the bigger MMOs to release. It's definitely going to be the biggest MMO to release if it releases 2025. In 2026, you probably have to compete with Aeon 2. But aside from that, I'm going to be positive to the game. Again, we played the beta. We haven't played the launch yet. The game has a lot of issues. If they fix a lot of the issues mentioned, this game can be good. So I'm not going to like doom and gloom it and say I'm never going to play this game, because I'm definitely going to play it. And I did have fun playing the beta. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.